Hi Stampers, this is Karen Phillip. I'm a Stampin Up Demonstrator and I'm pleased to show you how to we will be making this card, and this is just another example of this technique that I'm going to share with you, which I'm calling mirror embossing. So basically this is embossed and so is this with the same folder at the same time, and then we cut them in half and end up with this result. So let's get started. I first want to show you a couple things. We will be using the new brayer, and it's different than our old one. This is a silicone. Our old one was a rubber one. There are a lot of people who do not like this one. It has a purpose. I am not that excited about it, but I'll show you the difference. First of all, the technique that we will be doing is using this stamp bundle, and this is in our celebration rewards for a $100 purchase, and it's this embossing folder and this stamp set, which we'll be using on this card. Unfortunately, this only goes until end of February, so now would be the time to get it. This embossing folder, it's really hard to see, has a really neat design. And so what I did, the way to do this technique is we will be embossing on the entire folder at one time. And to do that, I'm going to get a piece of scrap paper underneath it because it makes a little mess. So what I'm going to be doing is there's a bumpy side and a smooth side on each folder. The side that has the logo on it is the smooth side, and the opposite side is the bumpy side. And there's probably technical terms, but I'm just doing smooth and bumpy. So what I discovered is inking up the smooth side and the bumpy side. Actually, we'll be doing it two different ways, but at the same time. When I used this brayer, this one, I did it, and this is the result. Then I discovered that if I took direct to the pad, using the ink pad directly to the embossing folder, I got this result. So you can see a big difference on the coloring and the coverage. So I didn't think that this was what I wanted, so I'm going this route for the one side. However, on the bumpy side, I discovered that if I used the brayer, I'll show you on here, if I use the brayer, you can see it's pretty well inked up all over the place. When I did direct, When I did direct to the pad, doing it the same way I did on this darker one, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute, but I wanted to show you results. It got a lot of extra color on the entire image, and I wanted a smoother look, just the dots to show through. Alright, well, I'll show you the action now, just so that, but I wanted to explain a little bit with this brayer. It has a purpose. It's not the worst, it's not the best. And another little thing with this brayer, it has little legs on it, and when you use the brayer, you want to make sure that the legs are up, because if you go down, it'll not go anywhere, because it's just sort of like a stand, because you should never lay your brayer and store it on the flat position with these little legs up, because it will make an impression on here and then you'll have not a smooth image. Alright, so to do this, on the logo side, the smooth side, I'm taking the ink pad, this is Highland Heather, and I'm just stamping directly, or inking it up directly onto the pad, like so. Next, I will take the brayer and only on the smooth side. Now the brayer, when you use a brayer, you don't just go back and forth like that. You'll just get ink on one portion of it. You can see it just did ink on a little bit. So you push, lift up, and that's how you get ink on it. For those who paint with a roller, that's how you get the ink or the paint. So you just kind of ink it up on the entire brayer. Roll it onto the bumpy side, and it's really hard to tell that there's ink on there, so I don't know if there's enough or not, so I'm going to do it again. Alright. The nice thing about this wide brayer is the fact that it covers the entire width of the embossing folder. Now to clean this off, you just run it through your faucet, and I will close the ink pad here. So now I took 2 sheets of 3 3/4 by 5. Just take 2 of them, put them together, put it on the flat side, the smooth side, and so a way to remember which side is the side you brayer. I say B for bumpy, so brayer and bumpy. Flip it over, run it through your machine. Now because I took so much time to talk and not put it through right away, what tends to happen when you have ink on plastic, it'll kind of bubble up, and so we're not going to have as smooth of image that I'd like, but it'll be fine. Okay, so we'll run it through the Big Shot, or not Big Shot, the Stampin' Cut Emboss. We need, this is a 3D folder, we need the platform, the embossing folder, always on an angle, otherwise it'll pop it and it could break the folder. And also always put the logo side toward the bottom of it and the crease side toward the roller first. Again, it's better for your machine and for the embossing folder because it could break it. Run it through, sorry for the jiggling. And now we have our image. And the explanation takes longer than the actual technique. Alright, so then we have our one side like this. And again, because I waited so long, it's not as smooth as I'd like, but it's fine. And then the other side is just the dots. To clean the embossing folder, you just also run that through run it through water and you're good to go. So what I'm going to do now, so that we get the same, I guess, is at the same time, you will cut it in your folder. This is 5-inch, so half of 5 is, wait, that's 5. I'm sorry, 3 3/4. We want to cut it this way. Half of 3 3/4 is 1 7/8. So we will cut it in half, and we have both pieces. And one of these I'm going to cut in half this way, the horizontal way, at 2 1/2, and that is for your sample for club members, and you end up with the 2 pieces like this size. I'll show you how it looks at the end here. Alright, so now we have our pieces, like so, and if you did it correctly, they should line up. Where's the other one? They should line up. There we go. So they're exactly the same on one side and the other, the pattern. So now we simply will adhere this to the white piece to give it the contrast. Alright, I'll get my ink out. Okay. My tape. So we will put tape on the back of the one. And you want to leave about an 1/8 inch border. Now, did I do it right? No. I want to turn it upside down. Okay. Like so. And now I'll do the same with the other one. And now this design lines up perfectly, and that's where the mirror part comes in. So you can see that this design goes with this design right in the center. So you have a perfect mirrored pattern. Now we will attach it to our card. Alright. And that just goes on here. Next, and that's basically the technique. For stamping, I have a little stamping tip with these flowers. I'll show it on the oh no, I'll just show it on here. And show you what pattern or what these are from. So I took, the flowers in the stamp set. I'm stamping the, I'm stamping the stem. I'm doing 2 of them. And then just a little hint for the flowers, I'm doing these also in Highland Heather. When you stamp and you have to line up like this flower goes in this little hole, and then there's some hole for some other flowers. You can kind of see that these will kind of fit in there. If you do a lot of them, I put a little arrow right on my block so you know which side is up, and that you do with a Sharpie, and you just erase it with an alcohol pad or a rubbing alcohol. And when I do this, I don't know if I'll be able to show you, well, I'll try. I'll hold it up. So I want to line up one of the little flower, I guess I can't do it that way. One of the little flowers, I'm lining it up, this little flower on this stem. When I do that, I'm only pushing down just on that little flower and holding just that flower. Now I can pivot the whole stamp till I line up the others, or at least one more, and then stamp down, and then it goes perfectly on the stamp, the other stamp. So I'll show you again. So I pivoting, the one up on top is way off, so I'm going to keep the left side here on the little flower, push it down, and now they all lined up perfectly. So just a little hint on how to line the flowers when they're in a little space like that. So we will decorate it with popping this piece up, the purple piece, and adding some gems. And I used You're in My Thoughts from the same stamp set, and the I'm trying to just show you more of these. I keep dropping everything today. The dies came from the Thoughtful Expressions, and that would be these dies right here, and then the sentiment is from this die right here. So that's it for this card. And also I wanted to show you what, if I can find it real quickly. I can't find it. So the club would have your 2 little pieces just placed on the little square it comes on. Oh, it's right in front of me. Duh. Okay, so this is how the club would look. So you just cut these were in half at 2 1/2. So you just kind of line it up in the center of your little square and just glue them both on so you can see what it's supposed to look like. All right, so sorry this one took a little longer because it had some extra explanation, but I hope you enjoyed learning from this and enjoyed the card. So thanks for watching and have a great day.